All right, so today we're learning about the element of art value. So value is a range of tones from light to dark. And today we're going to be doing value scales. And a value scale is a bar that shows the range of tones from light to dark. So it goes like this. It starts as a rectangle. And then you divide it up. It doesn't matter how many spaces you divide it into, but usually you do like 4 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So mine's 5 today. Maybe I'll do one more for black. The lightest tone on the far left is white. The furthest one away on the far right is black. And the things in between are called midtones. Those are all the different shades of gray. So before we fill this in with the different, with black and the different shades of gray, let's talk about the pencils we've got. So we've got a 6B pencil. The 6B pencil, and you can find the numbers on the side. The 6B pencil is our darkest pencil. The other pencil you have is an H pencil. That's your lightest pencil. The 6B pencil is a soft lead pencil, which is what makes it dark, and the H pencil is a hard lead pencil, and that's what makes it lighter. Your regular number 2 pencil, which you bring to class with you, is usually either HB or B. This particular number 2 that I have is HB. And if you look at your number 2 pencils, they all have something on here. All right, so our lightest tone is H. So we'll write that first. Then the next lightest is HB, then B, 2B, 4B, and 6B is our darkest. Now they do make pencils that are darker than 6B and lighter than H, but we don't have those at school. So our lightest, our darkest, and this right here, your HB and your B, that is your number 2 pencils. So now that we know which pencils are lightest and darkest, we can shade our value scale. So to shade your value scale, you start out in the black one, and you're going to shade the black section as dark as you can make it. You don't need to press super hard, but you do need to press hard enough that you fill the box as dark as your pencil can go. You might have to layer it more than once. And it should look like that, nice and dark. I'm using the 6B pencil to do this because it's the darkest one. While I still have the 6B pencil, I'm going to do the one directly to the left of it. That is the dark gray shade. I'm going to still use the 6B pencil, and I'm not going to press as hard this time. I'll use less pressure and fill the box. It should look like just one shade lighter. I might have to layer it a couple times. So it should look like that. Okay, the next box, you can either switch to a number 2 pencil, or you can continue using your 6B pencil. I'm just going to keep using the 6B pencil. And I'm going to do this one even lighter. You'll notice when I want to do a lighter shade, I move my hand further back on the pencil. I can't press as hard this way. And I'll layer this to make a medium gray. This looks like it could be a tiny bit darker. Okay. For this one, you can continue using the 6B pencil if you've got really good pressure control. If not, then you can switch over to the H pencil or the number 2 and do the like slightly darker, slightly lighter gray. I think I'm going to switch over to the H pencil. And I might have to layer this. Right, it should look like that. It should be one shade lighter than the previous one. And for the second to last one, this one, I'm still using the H pencil, and I'm going to do this very, very light. And your first box on the far left remains white. So if you've done it correctly, it looks like that. You might have to go back and adjust some colors. Like I think I'm going to adjust my middle one a little bit. I think it's a little bit too light. Just going to do another really light layer over it. All right, so it'll look like that. Right. Okay. Okay, so the first type of shading that we're going to learn about today is blending. And blending is smooth tones. So and you'll use a blending stump for blending. You don't have to, but it generally looks better. I'm gonna put a little star by this because the blending stump, the only time you use it is for blending. So the blending stump looks like this. It's the rolled up piece of paper. Now there's a couple of things that you need to know about the blending stump. Since it is a rolled up piece of paper, it's going to have edges. Do not pick the edges. If there's a little piece loose, don't peel it. Just bring it to me so I can tape it. You do not sharpen the blending stumps. And when you use them, don't put them tip down like this and then smash on them or press on them really hard. If you've blended correctly, you don't need to do that. It will not help you blend any better by doing that. When you use this, you want to use it on the side. You see how I have it on the side of my paper? You want to use it on the side and rub gently. But first you have to have pigment down. So I'm going to take my 6B pencil and using the side of my pencil, and you'll have to figure out how to hold your pencil. You'll notice I'm not holding it up and down like this, right? Not how I write with it. I'm changing how I hold it. And I'm going to use the side of my pencil. I'm going to do little ovals like that. And I'm going to gradually layer it from darker and fade it out to lighter. Then I can take my blending stump and using the side of my blending stump, I'll gently make little circles and blend this to a smooth transition. You can see how pretty that is. If I've done it incorrectly and I've tried to do my pencil like this, okay, I've pressed it with the tip. When I go to try blend that out, you can see that the lines don't blend away. So you want to avoid that because this is really not successful. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about, and remember blending stumps are only for blending. The next one we're going to talk about is hatching. Okay, and hatching is lines that follow one direction. So what that means is you choose a direction. It does not matter which direction you choose. Just pick something comfortable for your hand, and you're going to make individual lines. Let's write that up here, individual lines. Because one thing we don't want to do is this. We don't want to do zigzags. Okay, this isn't a zigzag thing. That's a whole different technique. Okay, we're doing individual lines. Now to make it look darker, you'll do more lines. I pick my pencil up after each one. To make it lighter, you'll do less, and you'll make them further apart. You can also switch pencils and layer. I switched over to the H pencil. And I switch back to the 6B because I want these to work together. We do not use the blending stump here. Your next one is cross hatching. Cross hatching is just like hatching, except it's individual lines that cross each other. So it starts out just like hatching. We're going to do your lines that all go one direction, and then you go over them the opposite direction. Kind of like tic-tac-toe or hashtag. To make this darker, it's the same thing as hatching. You'll do more lines wherever you want it to be darker, and less lines wherever you want it to be lighter, and the lines will start getting further apart as well. And this is a technique that if I was doing, if I was shading something, I would use this cross hatching technique to create the texture in jeans or like a burlap or canvas, like fabric texture. The hatching one, I would use this one to create like animal hair, like rodeo art. I'd use this to create horse hair. You could also use it to create like grass. Hatching would help you create, cross hatching would help you create grass too in the like darker spots. The next one we're going to do is scribbling. And scribbling is controlled, planned, scribbled. Controlled, planned, scribbles. So what that means is that scribbling is not this. See how there's like nothing controlled about what I just did? This is not what we're doing, okay? Scribbling, like it's controlled, it's planned. I use the darker pencil when I want it to be darker. I switch over to the lighter one when I want it to be lighter, and I press a little less hard. And I can layer them on top. I would use this texture. And when I was doing pet portraits, I would use this texture to do the texture in dog noses. I use this one a lot. It's a great technique for that. It's actually one of my favorites. It's fun. All right, and the last one, which I'm not going to make you do, but we are going to learn about it, but I'm not going to make you do it for today's project, is stippling. Stippling is value created by tiny dots. So what that means is you've got your value scale. And anywhere that you want to be dark, you'll use your 6B pencil, or you could use a pen or a marker. And you just do little dots. If you want it to be darker, you do more dots. If you want it to be lighter, you do less. So literally just dots. And the reason I'm not making you do this is because stippling takes absolutely forever. But we can do a tiny, tiny little value scale. You know you're doing it right if it makes your hand hurt. It'll start to burn like right up here in your forearm after doing it for a while. And that's what stippling looks like. So this takes forever. This is the stippling one is optional in today's project. All right. So I'll next video, I'll show you what to do there.